this is Ted Kelly with another Ted's Hospitality Minute. Hey, today we've got a great guest on. His name is Chris Puntureri. He's with Iridescent Hotel, and we're going to have him come on and talk a little bit about what they're doing over there, how they fared since the pandemic has hit, how things are looking now as things seem to be going better in the economy, and folks are getting vaccinated, and what does 2021 look like for them? Hey, Chris, how are you?
Hello, how are you? It's a pleasure to be on.
Hey, thanks for coming on, man. And I just read something the other day, and I guess I should say congrats. You're recognized as one of the top 50 influential leaders in the U.S. in the hospitality sector. So, man, you are cutting it up over there.
We try, we're trying to make a difference in lives, man. It's just the way hospitality works, right?
Yeah, it sure does. We are people persons, right?
Oh, for
Well,
sure.
well, tell me a little bit about you. How did you get in the hotel business?
All right. So I got in the hospitality world. I started back in the early 2000s at the Holiday Inn and Sunspree Resorts that was managed by Posadas on South Padre Island. You know, from that opportunity, I became a director of sales. Kind of went backwards going into operations and decided to flip in from the the I guess you could say almost like Star Wars, right? From going from the good side to the dark side. I decided to go into operations and worked in a courtyard and was in a courtyard by Marriott for about 8 years. Started with Image Hospitality and moved to Huntington before taking on a role with Remington Hotels as a full service GM at an embassy, and decided to go back to Newcrest Image as a regional director of operations and sales. Did that for a couple of years before taking on a similar role with GF Hotels and Resorts. And right when the pandemic kind of struck, it was about time for me to start my own thing. And, I started Naker Group, which was a support company for hotels that covered IT and construction and recruiting and task force. And during that process, met a gentleman named Ash Patel from Southwest Hospitality. And he and I talked a little bit about, the way the hospitality industry is and, how there's not a lot of transparency, and so we discussed opportunities, and I helped him and my partner from Naker Group start Iridescent Hotels. I kind of consulted for a little while, and in February, they decided to bring me on full time. So I have a piece of ownership in Iridescent, and I'm now the chief operating officer for Iridescent. And within Iridescent, our main goal is really transparency, with ownership, and it's to take care of our people. I think that's one of the big things that I valued so much about working with Marriott is that their key values really is you take care of your people, they'll take care of your guests, and the guests will take care of you in the community. And that's what we strive for, so we work with International Hospitality Institute on using their certification programs to be able to develop our people. And in turn, our people are doing great. I mean, they love the opportunities. We recognize our people, and, I'm not one of those guys that goes to a hotel in a suit and a tie. I go in a polo because I expect to roll up my sleeves and get dirty with the staff, so that's just, we take the different approach. And like I said, we're very transparent with our ownership. So we actually work with owners instead of just saying, hey, we're third party management, let us manage the hotel. We say, what do you expect? What are your expectations? They come to the property almost monthly to visit. We walk with them, and we allow them to see everything that we see. So going from payroll to the service scores, QAs, everything. There's nothing hidden whatsoever. Very transparent so that they see everything. What the ultimate goal is that if an owner wants to manage their own property in the future, we want to give them the knowledge to do that.
Right.
Will we lose some of our third-party management contracts? Probably, but ultimately it's not about building a number. It's about building relationships. It's about getting the knowledge that we've learned through our processes. And there's going to be an opportunity to take on more because they're going to turn around and say, you really need to look at these guys. And we try to keep it low. We don't want any more than 40 or 50 hotels. because we want to be intimate. We want to be able to be feet on the ground and be able to touch every hotel, and give our expertise, you know.
So how many hotels are you guys managing right now?
So currently we've got 11 hotels that are part of our ownership group. And then we've got 2 hotels that we're doing third party management with, plus another 2 on the way.
Okay. So your goal is, I guess, growth wise, is that you really want to become more of a third party management firm and maybe still acquire some stuff along the way, or is it, kind of a little bit of one or
I
the
mean,
other?
I think for us, our main goal is really to be third party management, and maybe have a couple of hotels that we have some ownership in.
Right.
The last thing I want to do is make any of our owners believe that we've got more in on our own hotels than we do on their hotels. So we try to stick to only a few ownership groups that we see that there's going to be growth with. Like I said, make it real intimate. Same thing when it comes to receivership, because we do have a couple of partners that we're working with to do receivership properties with.
Right.
We want a small amount. I mean, ultimately, we want you to know that we're there with you. It's a partnership. We don't look at ourselves as third party management. We look at ourselves as an extension of ownership, and really being a partner with the ownership, which is why we share so much information with them.
So let's fast forward a little bit. So here we are, 2021. Looks like the pandemic is starting to maybe subside a little bit, right? People are getting the shot, and I know folks have been pent up probably for the last 18 months or so, trying to figure out when they can get out and maybe go visit folks. Are you guys seeing a nice bump or increase in your occupancy levels in those hotels that you guys are managing or own right now?
So we are seeing increases. Relative in San Antonio, we've gone from 36% occupancy to 70% occupancy within like a 60-day period.
Wow.
We're seeing a lot of transient business. Not a lot of business. Business. I
Right.
don't think is going to be coming back anytime soon.
Yeah.
I think that, like you said, it's a lot of people have been pinned up for so long that they're going to go out on vacation,
Right.
and the expectation is to travel. I mean, just the other day, I talked to a friend of mine who owns a couple of hotels on South Padre, and he told me that they're selling for 4th of July $500 a night. They've been $500 a night on South Padre in years. So it's it's coming back in certain aspects.
Right.
Like I said, we see it more on the transient leisure side. I think corporate, I think that aspect probably won't travel until maybe next year at not even the pace that we're used to,
Yeah.
but we'll probably see more of it next year. Give it time for the vaccine to kind of kick in and see some of the results before people are really, really trusting. Because think about it, you've got a bunch of companies that are responsible for travel of associates. And ultimately, you've got to trust that they're going to wear their mask, that they're going to be 6 feet away, or that they're going to go get their vaccination. You know, you got to trust that,
Yeah.
and for us, I know that my corporate team, we paid for everybody to take the time off to go get vaccinated before we allowed them to travel. So um, we want our people to be safe, and we've got our own protocols. They've got to check in when they arrive. They've got to wear their mask. They got to stay 6 feet, even though they've been vaccinated. We just want to
Right.
make sure that we're taking every step possible to be safe,
Yeah.
because the well-being of our people is more important than getting to a hotel.
Yes, I think you're saying the same thing that I'm saying, but I guess my question would be, what are your thoughts on how the business traveler comes back? I'm feeling that we won't be able to return to pre-pandemic levels until we can get the business traveler back on an airplane and staying at a hotel and that Monday through Thursday night frequency, because I think that's so critical to the hotels being successful and hitting those economies of scale that they were, prior to the pandemic. What are your thoughts on that?
Oh, I absolutely agree. I think that, quite honestly, I don't think the business traveler comes back until maybe second or third quarter of 2022. give some time for the vaccination to actually kick in and see some of the ups and downs on it. And I don't think we go pre-pandemic until maybe first quarter 2023. I honestly think that it's going to take some time for some of the companies to have trust in not only the vaccine and the travel and the safety precautions, but the way they value their associates and making sure that they're safe during that, because nobody wants to be caught in the middle of whether or not they're following safety protocols during this time period. So I quite honestly think that over the next maybe the next year, we're going to see a lot more in leisure travel, which you've got a lot of pent up, time in the house, so I think that
Yes.
ultimately, you're going to have a lot of travel in that realm. I know personally, my wife has already scheduled 3 vacations, over the next 90 days, so I think that ultimately, that's what everybody's going to do, whether they're traveling to go to a cabin or going to a beach, it's what everybody's going to do right now, so I think that, again, business will probably come back a little. It's going to take a little longer.
Yeah, I think we're both saying the same thing there. So Chris, tell us, how do folks find you if they're looking for a third party, management company and all the other services you guys offer? Tell us a little bit about all of that, and then say, how do we find you if we need to connect with you?
Okay, perfect. So Iridescent Hotels, I mean, we're one of those groups that we won't take a hotel just to take it, right? I mean, we want what's best for the owner. So we don't just offer third party services. We consider ourselves an all in one, whether you need to renovate a hotel, whether you need it to be pipped, whether you need it, whether you just want someone to come in and give you an idea of what direction you should go in. We do all that. We consult, we take accounting, we've got HR platform. So we cover all realms of third party management, but then we also offer services outside of third party to support the hotels, to support an owner. And I think ultimately, our goal is to help ownership, be able to have a profitable hotel and go in the direction they want to go in. And sometimes that's not having a third party management. And as much as we want to pick up a contract, we're not just going to pick up a contract to pick it up. We want you to be successful, so ultimately, our goal again is to make sure that our owners are getting what they want and what they need. So that's really and truly what we stand for, right? Full transparency, and I think the best way to get a hold of us, really, you can go onto our website at www.iridecenthotels.com. I always welcome phone calls. I will take anybody's phone call, so, I mean, my number, I'll give my cell phone number out because it doesn't,
Okay.
for me, like I said, it's, if someone calls and says, hey, I'd like to get some input here, I'm more than happy to give the input, so for me, it's just keeping open communication, and it's good dialogue and helping leaders, especially during this time period, right? During COVID, there's a lot of concerns going on. There's a lot of questions,
Right.
and,
Right.
and I'm fully open to answer all that too. So, so again, it could be our website, or, they can catch me at Christopher@iridecenthotels.com, or even on my cell at 682-277-7211. I'm open.
That's awesome. Well, I definitely appreciate you joining us today to talk a little bit about iridescence and what you guys are doing over there. I would say that in that 12, 18 months, when the PIPs do finally start coming back around, keep us in mind. We're always looking for PIP work.
There you go.
And let us know how we can help. And thank you again for joining us, and great conversation.
It's my pleasure. I appreciate the time, and if there's anything that we can ever assist you guys with, we're always a phone call away.
All right. This has been another Ted's Hospitality Minute. Thanks so much for joining us. You guys have a great day.